Good evening and welcome. You're watching the Newshour Agenda. I'm Padmaja Joshi. I want to start by revisiting pictures we had shown you earlier this month on the 18th, when the Kerala government had eased COVID restrictions for 3 days leading up to Eid. Apparently, this was done to facilitate shopping and also to ensure that traders make up for the losses that they had suffered during the lockdown. At that time, the state was recording close to 17,000 fresh cases every day. From 16,848 cases with a test positivity ratio of 11.91%. That was at the time the relaxations kicked in, that is on the 18th of July. To now, 10 days later, when the daily count has climbed to 22,129 with a test positivity rate of 12.35%. This spike in numbers is of 37%. But far from owning up, the left government is even now choosing to dodge the issue.
It's a story mooted by a party which is the party of appeasement of a majoritarian communal fanaticism. Allegations of the BJP, allegations of the BJP are allegations politically motivated. On such questions, we will politically answer them. The questions raised by the Supreme Court, we will answer them with all responsibility.
No appeasement perhaps?
Not at all.
Now, mind you, at the time when the Kamar Yatra had been called off and the Kumbh Mela had been curtailed, people had approached the Supreme Court seeking that relaxations in Kerala also be rolled back. At that time, the Supreme Court had chosen not to curtail the Kerala government move, but had said that if as a result of the notification any untoward spread is to take place, the court will take necessary action against those responsible. Simple question today is, will the Kerala government now face the music for what is turning out to be a very, very dangerous appeasement?
You're watching the News Hour at 10, debate number 1 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
All right, joining us on the debate, Sanju Verma, national spokesperson of the BJP, Srijit Panikkar, political analyst, Sebastian Paul, former member of parliament of the CPIM, MC Abbas, political analyst. Mr. Paul, I remember we spoke 10 days ago and at that time you said that enough precautions are in place. One should not make any comparison with the Kamar Yatra and we are being unnecessary alarmist. Do you think a spike of 37% is reason to be alarmed, or are we being alarmist even now?
No, that is the peculiar nature of this disease, which is COVID. It will sometimes rise up and sometimes it will come down. We always say about the curves. The curve will go up and it will go down and it will flatten. It has nothing to do with the temporary easing of regulations in connection with the Bakrid festival. It is unfair and dangerous also to have some communal tint or communal interpretation in all these matters. COVID is a global issue. It has its own peculiarity. Last year, what happened in last year when the entire country was severely affected, we were able to control the situation. This year, the situation has been reversed. We have to technically find out what is the reason for it, and we have to take a positive and scientific decision for the purpose of tackling the situation.
Okay, Mr. Paul, just for a second, I want to hold you and ask, how are you so certain that this spike is not because of the relaxations? Have you had a study done to that effect?
No, there is a difference of opinion. Among experts, not my opinion, even the experts. There are experts who say that restrictions and regulations should be eased further. That is one version.
Okay.
Some others will say that there should be absolute restrictions is needed. But we don't know what is happening. But the one thing is certain, no government will be able to control the entire population. No government will be able to have complete lockdown, asking the people to remain inside for an indefinite period.
So
So
that
there
is
should
not
be at
very
least
reassuring
one-
if you're saying that yes, there is a spike, but there's a difference of opinion. We don't really know what is happening, but government cannot control people. These are not really the kind of things that you want to hear in the middle of a pandemic. But do you have any data, Sanju Verma, to show that the relaxations are a direct outcome, or rather the numbers are a direct outcome of the relaxations?
The point that the relaxation given during Eid has absolutely and directly led to the recent spike in the active caseload in Kerala and also the number of fresh cases. Point number one, prior to the relaxation, the test positivity rate in Kerala, 7-day moving average, hovered between 9 to 9.5%. Even 1 day before the relaxation, it was 10.2%. Today, the test positivity rate in Kerala is 12.35%, point number one. Point number two, and more importantly, the 7-day moving average of the number of deaths in Kerala prior to the Eid relaxation was between 89 to 112. In the last 24 hours alone, 131 people have died in Kerala. Again, pointing to the Eid relaxation and the rise in fatality. Point number three, and more importantly, look at the 7-day moving average of fresh cases, Padmaja. It is above 30,000, though in the last 24 hours, the exact number of fresh cases was 22,129. More than 50% of the total fresh COVID cases in India have come from one state, Kerala, and the Kerala model has completely failed. It is an utter failure, and I would like to use your platform to tell the Latian Lashkar, the Hathras lobby, and the Khan Market gang, why no questions of the despicable Kerala model, which has come crumbling down today? Because this is the same lot which spared no effort to run down the Kumbh Mela celebrations, the Kavar Yatra. I have absolute confidence in telling you that UP has done an unparalleled job with a positivity rate of only 0.02%. And let me tell you, Uttar Pradesh has a population of 24 crores. What is the population of Kerala? Bare 3 crores. And you still have more than 16,000 fatalities. And the finance minister, Mr. Thomas,
I think that question is for you, MC Abbas. And let me also add to that with a little bit of data. Just take a look at this graph, at this table which is on your screen right now. 10 days ago, we were being told that doing the Kamad Yatra in Uttar Pradesh is the most apocalyptic thing possible in our country. And 10 days later, we are still trying to play down the possible impact that relaxations have had in Kerala. And yet, the comparison is between two states, Uttar Pradesh, with an average test positivity rate of 0.01% and Kerala with an average test positivity rate of 12.2%. And this is an average that I'm giving you of the last 7 days. MC Abbas.
Okay, since we are speaking of numbers, Padmaja ji, I'd also like to present certain numbers. First and foremost, I'd like the BJP spokesperson to know, I definitely know, ma'am, you and your party, your A game is communalizing, Eid relaxation. Amit Walia, you and also Mr. Samit Patra, Dr. Samit Patra. Ma'am, I did not disturb you. Please don't disturb me. I heard you patiently, ma'am. Allow me 1 minute. Padmaja, allow me a minute. Let me demolish the narrative within 1 minute.
You sure demolish narratives, but please don't brush away everything as communalizing. Then equally, every time you have an issue with a Kamad Yatra, someone can turn around to you, Mr. MC Abbas, and say that only because it's a Kamad Yatra, you're communalizing. Please, go on.
Okay. Kamad Yatra and what happened in Kerala, this is comparison of false equivalences, apples and oranges. First and foremost, Supreme Court declined to quash the order of the Kerala government. Let me make it very clear. They critiqued. There was a strong
because they said the horse has bolted. Have you read the entire order? They said the horse has bolted. But if there is any rise in numbers, we will take action.
Yes, allow me to complete, Padmaja ji, please. Yes, certainly, yes. Now, Supreme Court has all the right and might to do the necessary action taken to the CPIM government led by Shri Pinarayi Vijayan, the Chief Minister. Also, let me bring this point to Sanju
So you
Verma
agree that this is something that was callous and action needs to be taken? You agree with that?
No, absolutely not.
Then why are you asking the Supreme Court to act?
No. allow me. Padmaja, if you don't allow me, how will I answer you?
Because I am not
will I
able
answer
to
you, tell me?
understand your roundabout
I
arguments.
make one line and you intervene.
That
I
is
think
because
you're having a
every
competition with
line has a
Sanju
different
Verma.
meaning. But
Padmaja,
go
you're
on.
having a competition with Sanju Verma. I'm not able to know who is BJP spokesperson here. Nevertheless, now coming
This
to the
is
point.
so tired. MC
Allow
Abbas,
me,
come on.
please.
You can do better
Come
than
on,
this. You know this,
Padmaja.
oh, I don't know the
Padmaja.
BJP spokesperson. It's a
Padmaja,
very
come on. Allow
tired
me
and
to-
old trope. Come on, let's move
Padmaja.
beyond that. Try harder. Go on.
Padmaja,
Yes,
come
give
on.
facts.
I'm
Give
also
facts.
speaker.
Go on. Yes.
I also have a chain of thought. If you keep intervening me, how am I able to?
Okay,
Please
go
allow
on.
The
me.
whole debate
All right, now
is
first and
chain of
foremost,
thought,
you know,
right? Come on.
now since we speak of the numbers, there were clear-cut guidelines, COVID norms. There was a blueprint given by Shri Pinarayi Vijayanji, which Shri Yogi Adityanath did not have. Also, a Kavad Yatra is in numbers of thousands. All right, and here only 40 people were allowed in a mandir or a masjid or a church or a gurudwara. Only those who took at least a single shot of vaccine were allowed to. Also, when it came to Sabrimala, there was a RT-PCR report
Okay,
which was
Sanju Verma respond to this. Sanju Verma respond to this. Sanju Verma respond to this. And you know, you are right. Everything looks great on paper.
Lecturing the BJP.
40 people.
You're shaming yourself.
40 people, let me play those visuals again from 10 days ago. And while all of this sounded great on paper, let's see those
Stop
images
making
from
a
the
fool of
markets
yourself
and
and
tell me where can you see 40 people. Sanju Verma, respond.
Padmaja, I'm appalled that, instead of owning up to the fact that fine, the Eid relaxation should not have happened, I'm surprised this man, MC Abbas, instead of giving out numbers, he's taking personal digs at me. Let me now tell one more thing. The best way to find out how COVID is being managed in a particular state is the active caseload. What is the active caseload today in Kerala? Do you know, Mr. MC Abbas? Rather than trolling me on Times Now, let me tell you, it is more than 1.45 lakh cases. 1.45 lakh cases is the active caseload in Kerala. Which state accounts for the highest number of COVID deaths at more than 1.2 lakh? Maharashtra, where the Congress is an alliance. Which is the state which was trying to profiteer from vaccines, buying at 400 and selling at 1,060? Punjab. Which is the state which on an average has had the highest vaccine wastage rate? Rajasthan. So stop lecturing the BJP, and if you're a political analyst, start questioning the Congress. Otherwise, please change your introduction. You are anti-BJP, you're not a political analyst.
Okay, Srijit Panikar, everyone is calling it appeasement. The argument being made is point number one, the left government in its affidavit in the court said that this is about giving some relief to traders. Point number two, that there were sufficient guidelines in place. And point number three, which they also made in the affidavit, that we have done it after due consultation. And finally, what Mr. Sebastian Paul says, this is the nature of the virus. This has got nothing to do with Eid or appeasement or anything else.
Lost my audio.
Okay, lost his audio. I think we're having a bit of an issue there. Sanju Verma, nothing to do with Eid or appeasement, it's the nature.
No. Padmaja, one very important thing which I think, even your channel has been showing this data. I want to say that in the Muslim-dominated areas of Kerala, and I want Mr. Thomas Isaac, the ex-finance minister of Kerala, to listen to this because he's been on Twitter trolling the Modi government throughout the day. Malappuram, which has more than 60 to 70% Muslim population, has seen in the last 3 to 4 days a 93% spike in fresh COVID cases. A 93% spike in fresh COVID cases post Bakrid Eid clearly tells you that the relaxation in lockdown during Bakrid Eid led to the spike in cases. And Malappuram is the best example, unfortunately.
Okay,
So for all
Mr. Paul, respond. Even
if is great, please, that's a whole lot of hogwash.
The breakup shows what is the reason. Sebastian Paul.
Sir, if Bakrid is the cause in Kerala, what is the cause in Maharashtra? Maharashtra also, we are witnessing a huge spurt in the COVID. So it is happening. We have to find out the reason and find out the solution and implement it. As far as Kerala is concerned, I am sure that there is no management with the figures. There is no manipulation of figures because the media is very vigilant. RT activists are very vigilant. The IMA is very vigilant. So we cannot manipulate the figures.
You can solve the problem if you acknowledge it. The Kerala government is not even acknowledging the problem. How will it resolve the problem?
Yes,
You need to
we are.
of the problem to be able to solve it.
Let Sebastian Paul respond.
Has taken cognizance of the fact that more than 50% of India's fresh cases come from a state with a population of barely 3 crores?
Sebastian Paul.
Yes, because I am just saying that our figures are honest and our figures are genuine. If the test positivity rate is increasing, it is because more and more people are going for test. That is why the 10%, 11%, or 12% means that much number of people are being tested. So that is the medical experts say that
no,
is the.
I would like to pull up the table again, sir. I would like to pull up that comparative table again. The average number of tests done in the last 7 days is 1,37,830 for Kerala, whereas for Uttar Pradesh it's 2,39,448. And yet the test positivity rate in UP is 0.01% and in Kerala it is 12.2%. So UP is conducting an average of more tests than Kerala is. But Srijit Panekar, again, Mr. Paul is saying, if Kerala it is because of Bakrid, then what is it in Maharashtra? It's the nature of the disease.
Well, Padmaja, the thing here is, Mr. Sebastian Paul has to understand that if it walks, quacks, swims and looks like a duck, it must be a duck. Call it a duck. He's not calling it, unfortunately. See, here the problem is, when you are talking about this Eid relaxations, just look at the numbers district-wise over the last 6 days. On all 6 days, the Muslim majority's district of Malappuram topped the COVID positive cases. They reported, including today, for the last 6 days, they have been number 1 among the districts in Kerala. What is the reason? On the 7th day from now, backwards, this was not the case. So it is a clear indication that the relaxations the government has given, the unscientific relaxations to appease a community, that was the reason for this huge spike. Now, Padmaja, the whole nation has to understand that, our COVID fight was hailed by the foreign media, the national media, everybody. The state was called a victor in the COVID management and COVID fight. The health minister, the then health minister, Mrs. K.K. Shailaja, was even hailed as a COVID slayer. The problem here is that Kerala's COVID fight is a classic example of celebrating victory before the last ball is bowled. See where we are today. Very, very pathetic state. Highest TPR amongst all the other states in the country, consistently contributing to nearly 35% of all active cases, reporting on a daily basis the highest number of active positive cases in the country, the highest number of daily deaths, and a lot of unscientific methods. See, if you want to go to a place, you have to understand which zone that place is in, what is the TPR rate of that place. So they are actually making it very difficult for individuals. Now talk about merchants. They are saying that, in the pretext of making it open for merchants, they actually made it available for the festivities of one particular community. And where are these merchants now? Have you lost your newfound love for the merchants that now you have decided to close down everything?
Answer,
the problem here is a very, very short duration
to give
for
that kind of logic in your affidavit and say it is because of the traders.
State Beverages Corporation.
So the traders needed relief only for those 3 days?
Allow me. First and foremost, let me bring this to your notice. No Muslim body, no organization, no committee request, asked or demanded the government in power in Kerala. Also, as a matter of fact, why does my good friend allow me to, don't interrupt me. If you interrupt me, please don't call me for the show.
Point is that
don't interrupt me, my friend.
Okay, let him have his say. Let him have his say. He's just been connected back. We had problems with his audio. Let him have his say and then you can rebut him. Srijit Panekar.
Okay. My good friend hails from Kerala. My dear friend, why are you so choosy and selective? Do you even know that the Sabrimala numbers, which were 5,000, were taken to 10,000 numbers in the same relaxation? Also, sir,
and tell me the numbers from Pathanamthitta district.
Okay, go on.
Tell me the numbers from Pathanamthitta district.
I'll listen.
Situated.
Okay, I'll listen to you.
Tell me that.
Okay.
No, let's debate
See,
on numbers.
My friend,
Mr. Abbas, let's debate on numbers. Let's talk about the numbers from Sabarimala.
This is not fair. This is not a fair way to debate. I hear you patiently, my friend.
You're not fair in the debate.
Kindly allow me.
Okay, let him finish,
30
please.
seconds.
Let him finish. Yes, MC Abbas, finish your point and then rebut, Srijit Panikkar. Don't interrupt. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. It was not only Muslims were allowed to go outside. It was not only a masjid. 40 people at a mandir, masjid, gurudwara, or any of the respective religious places were allowed with the masking, social distancing, and only those with the single vaccine shot were allowed to. Why do you only pick Muslim, my friend, when it is all? Also, Sabrimala from 5,000 to 10,000 people were allowed in the same relaxation. But you, a communal ban or a communal supporter of BJP, will say Muslim. You will target Tablighi Jamaat. You will target Kerala.
Okay, now let him rebut. And also, no personal comments, please. Calling each other communal, bigoted. This is not going to take us anywhere. Respond, Srijit Panikkar.
Padmaja, that basically happens when your back is against the wall and you have no other claim to resort to. That's okay, fine. He does that in all debates. See, the point here is, for Sabarimala devotees also, this COVID test is done, right? So that is in the Pathanamthitta district. Compare the numbers. Today's numbers, Malappuram reported 3,831. Pathanamthitta reported 549. Yesterday, Malappuram reported 4,037. Pathanamthitta reported 523. The day before, Malappuram reported 1,779 and Pathanamthitta was 240. Now, this is the number, right? We are talking about the numbers and you do the comparison, you do the math. If you are talking about this 5,000 being raised to 10,000,
he's giving you the numbers.
You are essentially talking about a community that is about 1 crore.
You are not justifying.
You compare 10,000 with 1 crore.
How did
Are you comparing 10,000 with 1 crore?
How did Sabrimala become a Muslim community? What, only masjid?
I'm not saying. I'm saying Malappuram is a Muslim-dominated district, and it is due to the relaxations that over the last 6 days. See, Abbas,
my friend,
7 days before Malappuram was not topping the chart, but for the last 6 days, essentially, invariably, every day Malappuram is number 1 on the list. What is the reason for that? What is special for Malappuram that the other 13 districts do not have?
Everybody was allowed.
Okay, just a second. MC Abbas, to my mind, this kind of relaxation, even for Sabrimala to double the number of devotees allowed, was completely unnecessary at a time when 13,000 cases were being reported per day. Now you tell me, do you think that the relaxations given in the days leading up to Eid were wrong? I am saying this was unnecessary. Life is more important than worship. Are you willing to say that, MC Abbas?
I will tell you, I believe in the Supreme Court order. I wish the Supreme Court allow me, when you ask a question, allow me.
Isn't the life of people more important?
I will answer.
Don't let 10,000 people go to Sabrimala. Their life is more important than their need to pray. Are you willing to say that the need to shop was not as important as the lives of people?
Padmaja ji, do you agree with me that Srijit Panikkar is wrong in blaming one community when Sabrimala was double the numbers?
Sabrimala is not all communities of us. Sabrimala is not essentially a Hindu worshipping place. It is actually open to all people. You can also go.
Stop being communal. Stop targeting one community.
I am not. Sabrimala is the only temple in India that is open for all. It is not
and bad decisions and trying to appease one community, sir. I am sorry. Okay, since you are going down that road, I did not see anyone arguing that for the government which allowed the Kamad Yatra to take place, those who criticized the government were being communal. Then it was all about public safety and public health. When you question these kind of moves, it becomes a communal argument.
Not at all. When this gentleman says only one community has appeasement, how did Sabrimala become a Muslim community appeasement?
No.
How did Mandir, Masjid, Church, Gurudwara?
I am saying one particular district is actually contributing more than the other collective number of states in the country. You don't see a problem in that. You don't see a problem in that. See, you are equating 10,000 people against a community that is 1 crore in size.
But why did the Supreme Court decline? Why did that?
No, and that is the reason why we have questioned that as well. And now the petitioner has gone back to the Supreme Court, and we're certainly hoping the court is going to take cognizance and come good on its promise of acting if the numbers go up. Sanju Verma, final word.
Okay, thank you. Padmaja, I fail to fathom that if Kumbh Mela was COVID unfriendly, if the Kamad Yatra was COVID unfriendly, why should the Eid celebrations be COVID friendly? Point number 1. Point number 2, We gave the example of Malappuram. We showed how there's a 93% spike in COVID cases in the last 3 to 5 days alone, completely linking the Eid celebration with the rise in cases. It's not Malappuram alone, because you can argue that one district does not prove the norm. Look at Kozhikode, look at Palakkad, the other two districts which are heavily Muslim dominated in Kerala and large parts of Wayanad also, from where Rahul Gandhi is an MP. The spike has been 30 to 45% higher in the last 5 days from not only Malappuram but from large parts of Wayanad, Kozhikode and Palakkad. So clearly, the Eid celebrations have led to an active caseload of 1.45 lakhs. And if MC Abbas is denying that, he is being the proverbial ostrich.
And don't make this issue
Wake
a
up and
communal issue.
smell the coffee.
Supreme Court has
Wake
a
up
right
and
and
smell the coffee.
mind.
We can keep arguing about the causes till the cows come home. The fact of the matter is that data shows, and this cannot be disputed, is that half of the cases in our country right now are coming from Kerala. This is the same state which has been hailed non-stop for the last 18 months as the Kerala model. With these kind of numbers, let's stop and think, is this the kind of model that India should really be celebrating and emulating? And did the government just make it worse with its decisions? I'm going to end it at that. Thank you very much, all gentlemen. Sanju Verma for joining me.